Okay, I'm going to try now to use this time to clarify some of the statements I've made in the past few videos that I believe are not being translated well by people who are listening to them. And I believe it's my fault, primarily. A lot of my friends always tell me, you should keep your mouth shut because people don't understand you. You're too far out there, and you're scaring them, or they think you're crazy, which is probably true. But nonetheless, I feel compelled, even in my own strange way, to make these videos so that maybe I can sort of bounce things off myself and get a clearer picture, because I'm not going to give up my fetish for understanding. I can't stop. I need to understand things. It's my nature. Always was. Since I was 4 years old. Since I can remember. I need to understand. But with understanding and with this quest for understanding must come a great deal of patience and humility. Those two virtues, if you want to call them that, are very much required in this pursuit, because the problem is you're never going to get it right. No matter how hard you try, you're always going to have problems with whatever theories or postulates or dogmas you concoct. And no matter how long it takes, no matter how many man-hours of philosophical discussion and research and references and sources, you're still not going to get it right. There's still going to be problems with it. And if you understand that, then you're going to be pretty much find yourself in a good place, where you know once you've arrived at the truth, at the ultimate truth, you don't have to learn anymore. You've got it all, right? And what kind of fun is that? So I'm going to try to express, clarify, and re-clarify what I'm talking about as time goes on with these discussions, so that I'm clear, if not anything, on what I'm talking about. Good example. In one of my previous videos, I talked about one of my Protestant friends who said to me, you have to leave the Catholic Church because Satan is in the Catholic Church. Satan is in the Vatican, okay, the devil. And I said, I don't know that's true, but I wouldn't doubt it. It's not something that surprises me. And he said, why? I said, because Satan was there at the Last Supper. The devil was there at the Last Supper. Jesus tells us this. He says, I'm doing this for you, all of you, but one of you is a devil. He didn't say one of you is a devil. He said one of you is the devil. He said one of you is a devil. The spirit of Satan was in one of them. We know it to be Judas, who betrayed Christ. God let Judas in to the Last Supper. He was there at the Last Supper. Satan was there in the form of Judas. Is that any different than what they're talking about when they say that the Vatican is full of the devils in the Vatican? No, it's the same thing. The spirit of Satan may very well be in some of these cardinals and clerics and administrators in the Vatican. And why not? Satan must be where the action is, right? He was already kicked out of the heavenly councils and courts, so he heads to the next level, and that's the Vatican, which in my opinion is, as I've said, the Catholic Church is the correct denomination of Christianity, is the primary one. I'm not saying it's, you have to be a Catholic to be saved and all that stuff. I said this before. I'll make that statement again, but it is the primary and the most correct denomination, and that's why Satan is there. Okay, he's in the other denominations too, but prominently in the Vatican. I wouldn't doubt it. So this is sort of a problem, because the person who I told this to went around and got back to me that I said Jesus and Satan were a team. They're working together. Right? So Jesus allowed Satan into the Last Supper because somehow they're working together, like much like what they say about the Vatican, the Catholic Vatican. And I'm sure that's not what my friend said, but somebody got it and it got mistranslated and retranslated and mistranslated. It came back to me that I believe, like the Mormons do, that Satan and Jesus are friends or brothers. And this was also an idea that was promulgated by a lot of Gnostic and Catharian New Age beliefs, which I do not believe. It's not that is not my statement at all. It's not what I believe at all. There's a reason why Satan is around God. And I don't know what that reason is, but there is a reason. And if there is a reason, we can explain why Protestant believers are so insistent on the Catholic Church being in with Satan, or in league with Satan. And these kinds of things, or these kinds of misunderstandings and misinterpretations, are also the kinds of things that I may be operating under as well. I might have it wrong. As I've said before, I was educated in the Catholic school system all the way through college, and I've come across many Catholic priests and nuns who I believe do not believe in Jesus. Okay, that's my statement. That's from what I observed of their behavior and in the way they've taught and what they've taught to us. They believe Jesus more as a social justice kind of mission, on a social justice kind of mission, to try to make the world safe. It's Marxist kind of thing, and I think that they've taken that to the point where Jesus' divinity is irrelevant, which is completely ridiculous. It's like saying Einstein was good at math. Okay, he was a great math guy. No, he was not a great math guy. He was good at math, yeah, better than most. But that was not his main. That's not his main function. It was not his main mission in life. It was an extension of his mission. It was a corollary of his mission. But it's not his mission at all. And anyone understood the life of Einstein and his theories on time, space, time, and relativity. We use math, but we're not about math. So these misunderstandings and these misinterpretations cause us to get really bogged down in a lot of needless debates and needless misunderstandings. And also it's fueled by our natural distrust for one another. We don't trust each other. And that's also a corollary of the fact that we don't get anything right. We never get it right. We don't trust anybody because we are again and again, even the best of us are always proven wrong in certain ways. Our dogmas and our beliefs and our rules for life don't always apply in all situations. We know this to be true. And that's a good thing. Understanding that is what's going to make life a lot easier, especially now in this world with the internet, with all the debates and all the websites and all the vitriol that's going on back and forth between all these different opinions and left to right, black, white. It's going to help us come to a much better understanding of where it is we are going, where it is we need to go, and how to get there. Richard Feynman, one of the great physicists of our time in the 20th century, said this about science. He said, a scientific principle or scientific understanding, scientific knowledge is so difficult. It's so difficult to even know something. For sure, people have absolutely no idea that most of science is about what we don't know. It's not about what we know. Through the process of achieving science, we come every now and then to a kernel of hard truth that we have to accept as reality, but a true scientist will never accept anything as true reality. And we'll question it, and we'll prod it, and we'll break it apart, and we'll continuously try to analyze it, no matter how truthful we think it is. You got up this morning, and you looked at your clock, or you went onto your radio, and it said sunrise. 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you say, fine, that's good. Honey, the sun's going to be up at 6:15 this morning, or 6:20. It says it on the radio. It says it on my computer. But you know that's not true. The sun does not rise. The earth sets against the sun. Okay? Now we know that sunrise doesn't happen, except we think it happens. It looks like it happens, and we never question it. But in the reality is we all understand that it's the earth moving against the sun that causes the sun to appear to rise. But we still say sunrise. We call it sunrise. That's a kind of an example of what we're talking about here. How an idea that's wrong gets permeated into our culture, into our debates, and into our understanding. And if somebody comes along like me and says, "Oh, the sun's not rising; it's the earth setting," oh, what are you talking about? Yeah, shut up. Yeah, were you Mr. Science now? Oh, I'm wrong. Is that what you're saying? You know, I get that all the time. So what I'm going to propose here in this video is that the idea that we're going to need to introduce into our own understanding and our own discourse the idea of patience and humility. Those two things, which are very important. We need to have patience because we need to understand that it takes time to get things right, if ever. And it takes lots of time. Unfortunately, it may take longer than your entire lifespan to get something right. In other words, you'll be working on it for the rest of your life, and you will die without fully understanding what it is you're trying to. So we have to understand that. And that's called patience. And humility comes along with that. The humility to know that this is true. Not only is it true for you, it's also true for the people that you're debating or arguing with or learning from or teaching. Humility is extremely important. Patience is extremely important. And when I talk about some of these things, and I know some of them are, people look at me in hysterical wonder about what I'm talking about, I have to understand this. So my problem is that I have to take time to explain things, and that takes a lot of time. I try to keep these videos to 15 minutes or thereabouts so they don't go too long. And it's already up to 13 minutes already. And I haven't really said anything yet. So I would need a lot more time to explain what I'm trying to explain now, but I'm hoping that somebody gets the idea that we need to reevaluate what it is we're trying to say and how to put it into words so that people can better understand them without scaring them, without challenging them, without insulting them, their religion, or their background, or their beliefs, or their color, whatever. But to try to use a little bit of empathy. Maybe empathy should be included in that too as well. Patience, humility, and empathy. When's the last time you met a college professor with patience, humility, and empathy? They're out there. And they're probably the ones you remember the most as being the best. It's important. And I think that I myself lack certain of these qualities, and I know, and I don't want to misinform or challenge or, as they say, troll anyone. No, Satan and Jesus are not aligned together. They are mortal enemies. Satan is where he thinks he needs to be in order to advance his agenda, which is to survive the ultimate return of the Lord. He needs to work out something that will keep him and his fallen angel comrades around for as long as he can. And I've explained to you what my theory was on that and what his strategy was. You go back to my earlier videos and see that. But he's not in line with Christ. They're not together. And the Jesuits are not in line with Satan. And the Vatican's not in line with Satan. There are people who are satanic, who worship Satan, yet maybe, and have gotten themselves in the Catholic Church. I don't disagree with that. That's not something that I disagree with. But the idea that the Catholic Church is founded by Satan or founded to advance a satanic cause is wrong. It's extremely wrong. And you need to think a little bit more clearly, a little bit more deeply as to why you feel that way. And understand, number one, God forbid that should ever really be true. And number two, what's God's plan? Because God ultimately is going to win this thing. That's one thing I know. I do know. Okay, God bless.